Hello YouTube, Dave here again. I was originally going to sit down and start recording some more Shovel Knight Torment of Spectre for the month of October, stuff for the Halloween, but there was a game that I really wanted to play and for this month, and I mentioned it in the first installment of the Spectre Knight playthrough that I was doing. So the reason that I didn't get to play that game was just because of how difficult I thought it'd be to set things up. In terms of what controller I'd have to use, the length of cords, the distance from the TV, having to set up my camera so I can, aim it at the TV. So it just seemed a little more daunting than I was willing to kind of put myself through. But as it turns out, it's actually not that difficult. I was able to pull the, as you can see, I'm playing on the Nintendo Wii. So I just had to pull that out a little bit, and I've got actually quite a bit of cord, so it's going to be pretty actually decently comfortable. So without further ado, let's just hit start and we'll get right into it. And I mean, obviously if you've read the title of the video, you know what this is going to be, but still.
Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting. Nintendo. You too have come to understand, feel as I have.
Alright, so we are playing Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem for the Nintendo GameCube. This was the second game I ever bought for the GameCube when I first got it, all the way back in the early 2000s. The first one was Star Fox Adventures, but this was the second game that I picked up. The only reason this was a second game is at the time I went to go buy my first game, they didn't have it in stock. So this is one of my favorite games of all time, and I just wanted to let that intro sequence play out there because it is creepy, it's atmospheric, the introduction is just, suitably epic. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to Start Game. Now one of the actually cool things about the menus is that as you go down to different options, it actually changes the ambiance, like the sounds, which is kind of cool. But anyway, so we're going to go into Start Game. And I'll choose the memory card. So I've beaten this game a few times, obviously. We're going to carry that over, sure.
Flesh, bound together with the oddest magical incantation. This wretched book is where it all began so long ago. Before time. Before humanity. I am Dr. Edward Roivas. I am a clinical psychologist. I am also dead. This is not my story, nor even the story of the Roivas family. It is the story of humanity. Like it or not, believe it or not, as you will. Your perceptions will not change reality, but simply color it. Humanity has been on the edge of extinction for 2 millennia, ignorant of so much and dependent on so few. The Guardians grow restless, their time once again near. Whether by fate or misfortune, my family has crossed their path, and they didn't take kindly to it. Their attention turns to my granddaughter, for she is the last of my line, and the last hope for humanity.
Alright, so I have not played this game in a few years now, so I'm a little bit, there we go, a little bit iffy on the controls, but I think I think I'm getting it here. I can't pause yet. I realized I forgot to turn off the, oh boy. I realized I forgot to turn on the closed captions, so.
Hello?
It's Alexander Wyman.
Yeah, who's this?
This is Inspector McGrath of the Rhode Island Police. I'm sorry to disturb you, but there's been an accident. With your grandmother.
I'll be on the next flight out.
The Roivas Family Estate, Rhode Island.
Miss Roivas, I'm pleased to meet you. Trust you had a pleasant trip?
Yes, I suppose so, considering.
Yes, my condolences. This is most unpleasant. It's a shame we couldn't meet under brighter circumstances.
Yes, it
I
is.
always thought that was kind of a creepy way to deliver that line, but anyway.
Yes, sir. But I must warn you, it's not a pleasant sight. I'm afraid there's not much to see. Miss Roivas, is that your grandfather?
Yes, he's wearing our family ring.
I don't understand. Why are you showing me this? Can't you check dental records or something? What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry. It's my job, lady. You're the only living relative, and no, we can't check dental records. There's no none of this makes sense. There's no sign of intrusion, and there was certainly a lot of force used here. I have never seen anything like this in my 20 years on the force. We have no evidence except for the body, and what's left doesn't say much. We don't have a single clue.
You better find out who did this. I'm not leaving Rhode Island until you do. There must be some clue in this old mansion revealing what happened. I want answers.
So do I. I wish I had some.
So I gotta love just how casually he was just drinking his coffee while going through all that. So here we go. Shocked by her grandfather's mysterious death and frustrated by the incompetence of the local police, Alex vows to uncover the truth. She decides to search the mansion, the place where Edward conducted his research. If there was a tie to his past and possibly a tie to his murder, it would be here. So the first thing I want to do is go into... yeah. Okay, thank you. There should be some options here. So let's just make that a little bit brighter. So that'll be easier to see. Turn the subtitles on. And I think we're good. I don't know if that's better or... yeah, let's actually go to the... yeah, definitely the 16:9. Okay, perfect. Got all that out of the way. Yes, save the settings. Alright. Oh. It's been a while since I've actually played this. Let's just overwrite that one. Alright. So, we gotta start looking around. I think that shows up a little bit better. This is sort of a dark game, so we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully it does alright. So we get to examine the clock here. Alright, so a beautiful carriage clock. The hands appear to be stuck, yet the clock continues to tick, with the time permanently stuck to 3:33, which was the same time we got the call. There is a key in the back of the clock, presumably for winding it. Should Alex take the key? Yes. Yes, she should. Picks up the desk clock and pulls the key from it. However, there is something odd about this key. It isn't for winding it at all. It looks like a dresser key. So, I've got a dresser key now. Alright. Examine. It's portraits of the ancestral Roivas line in the foyer walls. Their faces reveal a dark, brooding edge. There is something about each one that gives the viewer an unsettling feeling. Oh. Alright, so just go back. So we got the second floor key, and we got the dresser key, so let's try to go up to the second floor. Use the second floor key, and oh no, the key broke. Must be some way to fix it, and now I've got a broken key. So, basically, I don't have the ability to go upstairs yet. So let's just go right to it. This game is 15 years old, so most of you have probably already played it. Can I go in here yet? Okay. It's been a long time since I've actually played this, but... so here we go. In the warm glow of candlelight, the Roivas family tree hangs from the wall. Shadows flitter across its surface, obscuring the detail. If one looks closely, the family's secrets are revealed. And I think what they mean is the hangman, or the hanged man. Alright, so... we basically have to search for clues. So if we examine here, it says, sorting through the books, Alex sees one that seems to be placed differently than all the others, as if drawing attention to itself. Curious, she examines it. Upon the inside cover, shaky handwriting shapes the numbers 333. She replaces the book. So, yeah, 333 is the recurring theme for this. So that seems to be a pretty big clue. So if we examine here, it says the books in this corner seem to focus on the supernatural. The writings of Poe, Lovecraft, the poetry of Blake, the art of Bosch. Everything with a tie to the ethereal horror or fantasy. Or to ethereal horror or fantasy. It is all here, a reference library to the arcane. Was this Alex's grandfather's secret hobby? So one of the reasons that I love this game so much is the fact that it is very much tied to sort of elements from, you know, like Lovecraftian horror and other things as well. So, being a huge fan of Lovecraft, I absolutely love this game, and this was what kind of got me interested in Lovecraft. I had heard of the H.P. Lovecraft, but I didn't read any of his books or didn't know a whole lot about him. But after I played this game, that's when I decided that I really wanted to learn more and start reading about him. So this game is what got me into H.P. Lovecraft, and that still looks a little bit. Just gonna adjust my, because I don't know if it's actually. I'm looking through the viewfinder on my camera, so I don't know if it's actually as bright as it looks like, or if it was just the angle that I had it at. So let's just maybe turn the brightness down just a little bit. So helps if I actually select the memory card. All right. Oops. You can punch this, by the way. So a slight draft can be felt issuing from beneath the bookshelf, almost as though a vent or an empty space is behind it. Alright, like I said, let's just get right into it. So here we got a clock, and basically we can move the hands using left or right on the control stick. So let's just go through, and since 333 keeps coming up everywhere, let's set it to 333. Alright, so this game does have kind of like camera angles and stuff like that, similar to Resident Evil. Some of the Resident Evil games, there's fixed cameras in certain places, but I find that this controls a lot better than the Resident Evil games, because you can actually just move in the direction that you want to go into. Let's just pick up a sword here, and why don't we equip that sword? Alright. So we've got here big old intimidating book. So let's have a look at this, shall we? A large leather-bound antique book rests upon the cluttered desk. Should Alex read the book? No. Let's just leave. No, let's read the book.
No knowledge of what was to come, nor did I care. How the knowledge changed me, it will also change you. As you read this, you will come to learn fear as I have. You too will come to understand, or you will perish. To think that once I could not see beyond the veil of our reality, to see those who dwell behind. My life now has purpose, for I have learned the frailty of flesh and bone. I was once a fool.
Alright, so here is the gimmick of this game. So you actually play through multiple characters as you progress. So instead of just playing as Alexandra, learning everything, you actually go through and you play the history. You play through the stories in the Tome of Eternal Darkness as different characters. So I thought that was actually really cool. Each of the characters sort of have their own attributes and abilities as well.
Do not doubt our Emperor's beliefs or his orders. We are to retrieve the artifact, and we must be strong and patient.
Yeah, it's probably nothing wrong with following the weird disembodied voice. just a bunch of creepy standing stones with weird runes on them. And you see, that's probably why I wouldn't just follow after some strange disembodied voices. But anyway, so we got teleported. Alright, basically it asked me if I want to climb down the ladder, so let's just go ahead and do that. Alright, we've got some bodies here. That can't be good. Alright, so you can run. There's a targeting system as well, so I kind of shut it off a little bit, but you can target the torso, limbs, or the head. So I usually like to basically disarm them as much as I can, literally. Finish them off, and a couple more. So if they don't have their heads, they can't see, and they'll just swing blindly. And it's really hard to, it's just in a bad spot to hook. Alright, so that one's dead. I don't really have to kill them necessarily, but may as well. And the finishing moves are always kind of fun. So let's just pick up, we got a granite block, it looks like. And it's got just a weird red rune on it. Keep going. Oh. Now we got one with the green symbol on it. And you know what? I'm just gonna keep going. Just gonna keep going. Because we're at 22 minutes of recording time so far. I kind of want to keep this as... I like to be able to finish this within the 30, so we'll see what we can do here. Okay, there's nothing there. There, finish that guy off, just because we do come back out this way. I don't think we ever actually go back up, so I think I was okay to leave those zombies. And if I do go back, they're not going to have their, still not going to have their heads, so I don't have to worry too much about that, which is fine. So, as you can see, we've got four different runes, or four different symbols on the walls, four different spots for what looks like the granite blocks to go into. Thank you. Enemies can hurt one another in this game, which is also something that I think is kind of cool, so there is friendly fire. Let's pick up this purple rune. And we'll just go through and basically put the block in the corresponding spot. Now, for example, if you, let's just say you put the wrong one in, then, whoops, there we go. I was going to say, if you put the wrong one in, that it will actually summon a zombie. So let's just go ahead and do this proper-like. Alright, one left. So there are some puzzle elements in this game. There's exploration. The combat system's actually pretty decent. It's simple, but it's decent. Being able to aim is great. This is just an awesome game all around. The story's fantastic. And this is a spot that basically teaches you how to target, but we've already clearly done that, so we got a statue of ourselves. Whoops. Oh. Alright, so let's just head, arm, boom. It is a little unsettling that there was a statue of ourselves in this place and the only way to progress was to destroy it, but... Oh. Alright, now I probably won't breeze through the other sections as quickly as this one. I'm just doing this because, like I said, I want to be able to finish this chapter within the 30-minute time limit before my camera decides that it's had enough. So here we are. So we find ourselves in a strange room. There are 3 separate artifacts. So we've got one that looks like a strange sculpture resembling a red-clawed worm. So let's not take that yet. Oh, oh. We also have one that looks like a pale blue statuette, or delicate, shaped like a delicate dome. A pale blue statuette floats gracefully. And then we've got, whoops. Then we've got an effigy resembling a warped angel shaped from dark green emerald. Hovers effortlessly above the pedestal. So, which one of these do I want to take? The first time I played through, I did choose the blue one. Let's go ahead and... I forget which one does which, so... Well, I mean, I don't forget which one does which. I forget the order in which they're vulnerable to one another. But anyway, let's take the green one. And I'm sure absolutely nothing bad will happen. Alright, so the first character that we played basically turned into a lich. So, great start. Off to a good start so far.
Eons have passed since then, and I have learned much. I was once as naive as a child, but now my mind is sharp. With the power of Xel'lotath, I can now read the thoughts of others and make them raving mad with a mere suggestion. Face me, and you shall surely perish.
Alright, well, that was the first chapter. We also have acquired now the Tome of Eternal Darkness. So, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I think this one I definitely want to go through all the way to the end. It's been a long time since I've played this, so I'll be rediscovering some of this with you guys. But I hope you enjoyed so far, and be sure to come back for part 2. Till then.